How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another Battlefield 2042 video. So for today's video, I wanted to go over some tips and tricks that I thought might be handy for a lot of you guys going into Battlefield 2042. Now obviously the game isn't out until Friday, so I don't have actual gameplay and in-game tips, but a lot of these tips are going to be for new players, players that are just now getting into the Battlefield franchise, but a lot of these tips could also work as a refresher for a lot of old school veteran Battlefield players. And then once the game actually comes out, I will have a lot of actual in-game related tips. But a lot of these tips are sort of to prepare you for before you play the game. So getting into the first tip for Battlefield 2042, if you guys just want to test out the game for yourselves without spending $60, there is in fact a 10-hour free trial starting on November 12th. If you guys have EA Play on PC or on Xbox, or if you have Xbox Game Pass, it is included in Game Pass, you guys can access 10 hours of Battlefield 2042 for no additional cost, just whatever the price of your monthly subscription is for EA Play or Xbox Game Pass. And yeah, you get to play the full game for 10 free hours. Treat it as sort of like a demo or whatever. If you're on the fence of if you wanted to pre-order or not, or if you wanted to test out the specialist or portal mode, or whatever problems you might have had at the beta, you can play for these 10 hours and see if they fix any of your concerns. Can't really go wrong with a free trial, so I highly recommend that 10-hour free trial for those of you that are on the fence about getting this game. Now, the next tip I have for Battlefield 2042 is something that a lot of casual, just everyday players don't really realize, and that's to take advantage of the in-game settings. It took me a couple years to actually realize this, and after playing so many first-person shooters over the years, the in-game settings can actually make a big difference in your overall performance. And let's be real here, everybody wants to perform well. It doesn't matter if you're a hardcore, Twitch streamer and you play this every day of your life, or if you're just casually having fun. Everybody wants to play the best that they possibly can. Nobody wants to go out and die hundreds of times, because that's not very fun. So if you go into the settings, this applies to pretty much every first-person shooter, there's a lot of settings that you can turn on and off that can actually affect your gameplay and improve the amount of kills that you're going to get. And a lot of these changes are very small, and a lot of people don't even realize that you can do this. For example, let's look at Battlefield 5. A small little thing that can make a big difference is, let's say for example, smoke is deployed and your little crosshairs where you aim your weapon is white or gray, and that can kind of blend in at first glance with the smoke. You can't really see what you're aiming at. If somebody's charging at you in the smoke, or if you're trying to see someone in the smoke and you at first glance kind of lose your crosshairs in the smoke, I mean, 1 to 2 seconds could be the difference between getting a kill or getting yourself killed. So if you go into the colorblind settings, or if you go into the settings and there's an option to change your crosshair color, that can make a world of difference. Instead of having it white or gray and blending in with the color of the smoke, make it something like neon blue or neon green or whatever your favorite color is, to make it stand out a little bit better on screen. A lot of people actually take advantage of the colorblind options in a lot of first-person shooters, and for a lot of people, they never even think of this, because if you're not colorblind, why would you think to go into the colorblind options? But it actually can play a big advantage. Just something as small as changing different colors in the environment, making different things pop out more than normal. If you don't care about the immersion of the game and you just want to get as many kills as possible, changing the colors and the colorblind options to make plants stand out more, or greens or reds or whatever, if they can stand out easier to the naked eye, and at first glance you notice something that you wouldn't normally notice with the default colors, I mean, that can play a big part. And since I'm talking about the immersion, I mean, if you guys just want to play the default experience and you want it to look cool, then by all means leave all the graphic settings alone. But if you want to go out and get a lot of kills, and you care more about performance, and you care more about how you perform on the leaderboard versus how the game looks, you can go into the settings and turn off a lot of things. Like every time I play, I turn off motion blur. Battlefield 5 has a setting for camera shake. When explosions go off, there's a camera shake effect, so it kind of disorients you. That can play a big role in the middle of a gunfight. If you're playing against somebody who doesn't have that turned on, and there's an explosion, and your camera shakes but your opponent's camera doesn't shake, who do you think's going to win that gunfight? The guy who has his camera all steady, or you who's knocked off balance from an explosion? Yes, the explosion may seem a little bit more realistic if your camera shakes, but if you turn that off completely, you're not going to have any shake from explosions, and you're going to be able to keep your camera on your opponent the entire time, and that could be the difference between 1 to 2 kills. Same thing applies to the field of view. A lot of people in first-person shooters play with the default field of view. They don't think to make it wider. And a lot of PC players and a lot of like Twitch streamers and people that play games for a living, they always change the field of view slider, because if you have a wider field of view, you're going to be able to see more of the battlefield. Now, some people don't like the way that it looks because it kind of stretches your screen, but the more that your screen is stretched, the more that you're going to see versus just an average player who doesn't change their field of view. If your screen stretches just a little bit, you're going to see just a wee bit more of the battlefield versus your opponent. So playing with the field of view is a big deal, and then also changing your sensitivity settings. This is something I used to do back in the Battlefront 2 days. If you're playing against someone in a 1v1 fight and they have the default sensitivity settings, they're going to be turning pretty slowly. So what I used to do in Star Wars Battlefront 2 is, as I got used to the sensitivity settings, I would bump them up 5% over and over and over until I eventually built myself up to 100% sensitivity. If you can improve your gameplay at higher sensitivities, you can turn left and right and up and down a lot faster than your opponents. So if someone's shooting you in the back, you can turn on a dime, instantly turn around, defend yourself from behind, get the kill, versus if you were just using the default controls, odds are you're not going to turn around fast enough and you're going to die. So I highly recommend when you get into Battlefield 2042, look at all the different settings there are, look at the color options, the sensitivity options, the graphic options, because turning certain things on or off can definitely affect your gameplay. Now, the next tip I have for you guys is pretty universal for most first-person shooters, but it's to learn the maps. Luckily, Battlefield 2042 is going to have portal mode, and it's going to have the option to customize the games however you want and turn on and off bots. So this is a perfect opportunity to maybe load up portal mode, turn some bots on, and just run around and learn the layouts of all the maps before you jump into multiplayer. Because if you have the maps memorized and you know where the enemy spawn points are, and you know which objectives on the maps are sort of fought over the most, and you just sort of have a general idea of the layout of each individual map, you're going to get more kills. For example, for the map in the beta, I kind of realized that the big tall building in the middle of the map was sort of the main battleground area. Most of the fighting sort of took place right in that general area, so I would just mainly hang out in that area. I like to get a lot of kills, so that's where I would spend most of my time. So definitely take the time and learn the maps, maybe go into portal mode, test them out for yourself before multiplayer, and trust me, that's going to give you a big advantage versus just going in blind. Now, the next tip I have for you guys is kind of related to the previous tip about learning the maps, and this tip is that while you're running around exploring the different maps, get into the mental mindset of that you're playing like you're a sniper. Now, obviously, a lot of people don't like sniper rifles in Battlefield or Call of Duty. They just stick to assault rifles, and a lot of people just can't get the hang of sniping. They just aren't big fans of sniping. But what I mean by play like a sniper is try to get into the mental mindset of what a sniper player would want to do. When you're going around the environment, look for tall buildings, hard to reach places. Try to think outside of the box. If you were using a sniper rifle, what is a good hiding place that you would want to get to sort of give you an advantage? Maybe on top of a crane, on top of a building, on top of a tower, somewhere unique, somewhere that you can see a lot of the battlefield, where you can pick people off and get a lot of kills. And odds are, that's where a lot of the enemy snipers are going to be hanging out. So if you get into the mindset of, if I was sniping and I would get into this position, it sort of gives you a different mindset of how you would approach the map. Sniping is one of my favorite things to do in Battlefield, and as I'm playing as a sniper class and I'm looking for these different hiding places, and I just get into this mindset when I'm looking at the map, and I look at things completely differently than if I'm playing as a medic or if I'm running around with an assault rifle or a shotgun. I'm just sort of running and gunning, and I want to be in the action as much as possible. If I'm playing as a sniper rifle and I want to find these hidey holes or places that are hard to reach, I feel like I learn the map a lot better when I'm actually taking a step back and looking at things from a distance. Maybe I'm on top of a sniper tower and I'm sort of landscaping the map through my binoculars. It sort of gives you a different outlook on the battlefield. So the next tip I have is pretty basic, but it's something that a lot of people sort of either forget or they just don't really pay attention to, and that's playing the objective and playing with your squad mates in Battlefield. Now, Battlefield has always been a squad-based kind of game, Playing with your squad and doing squad-based related tasks always gives you more points. So if you're trying to level up the attachments on your weapons, or if you're trying to unlock certain outfits, or just level up your character in general, do squad-based stuff. Listen to what the leader of the squad is saying. If he points out a command, go capture that command post. If someone's down, pick them up, revive your teammates. Just doing things as a squad will give you more points than if you just run off on your own and just go around freely getting kills. I couldn't tell you how many times I've played Battlefield where I've seen people with like 1 to 2 kills on top of the entire leaderboard because they just did nothing but objective plays and they did nothing but help their teammates. Things like dropping ammo for teammates, things like running around dropping med kits, or running around as the medic class picking up any down soldier that you see. Things that will help your team on the overall scoreboard are going to level you up faster. And the average player probably doesn't even realize this because, let's be real here, a lot of people aren't even playing with friends. They're just, you know, maybe playing a match in their downtime and they're just going out and just having fun killing stuff. So just keep in mind, if you're just playing on your own, you're not playing with friends, and you get placed in a random squad, if you do help out that squad, you are going to get more XP. And that's pretty much just how all Battlefield games kind of work. And then the next and final tip I have for this video is that when it comes to Battlefield, try to think outside of the box when it comes to finding different ways to kill your opponent. Battlefield is pretty famous for just all these crazy ways people have pulled off interesting kills. Everything from jumping out of jets mid-flight, turning around, shooting a rocket at an opposing jet, and then landing back inside of your jet and flying away. Loading up C4 onto a four-wheeler and then driving the four-wheeler into like a tank or another vehicle and just sort of going on a kamikaze run. And the latest example from the Battlefield 2042 beta is putting explosives on the little drones and flying the drones around and getting explosive kills. I did that a lot in the beta and it was a ton of fun. I might not have been at the top of the leaderboard, I wasn't getting tons of kills, but it was a blast. It was super fun. And sometimes that's some of the best memories that you make in Battlefield, is just when you're goofing off. Not every single match needs to be serious. So I was getting pretty frustrated at the beta at certain points because of either like spawn dying or just the overall flow of the map. If I was getting agitated, I would just take a step back. I'd pick the Casper specialist, I'd pull out the recon drone, throw some C4 or C5 on it, fly it around and get double kills, triple kills. I'd blow up some tanks or helicopters with the drone, and it was just a lot of fun. So I recommend you guys think outside the box, because normally when you get these weird creative kills, it's the most rewarding. It always makes for good clips. If you guys want to record a cool moment or something, and the game often sort of rewards you for going outside of the box and doing these unique things. So those are some of the basic tips I have for you guys for when you're getting into Battlefield 2042. Just some like beginner tips, reminder tips for those of you coming back to the game. And then once the full game comes out, I will have a bunch of actual like gameplay related tips for you guys. I have a lot of tips and tricks videos and just a bunch of video ideas in general for Battlefield 2042. So if you guys are new here, hit that subscribe button and hit the bell for notifications. That way you guys don't miss out on anything Battlefield 2042 related. If you guys want to watch me do live streams, I live stream on Twitch at SwanyPlaysGames Live. I'm going to be playing a lot of Battlefield 2042 when it comes out, pretty much around the clock. And if you guys want to join the discussion, you can join the channel's Discord. That link is down in the description down below. And that is going to do it for this video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will talk to you all next time.